the thing I've really wrestled with is that it shifted, this is me being very honest, is it shifted my positioning to other people very much, where it suddenly seemed like I'm an expert now. So I've been getting a lot of questions about this recent experience I had with the Inferno music conference in Norway, where I was actually lucky enough to get flown out to give kind of a speech keynote type situation on social media and in the world of metal bands, labels, brands, etc. What I wanted to talk about first was what that experience was like, what it meant, kind of give some people some context around that, because it was very surreal and cool and not really what I ever expected to have happen to me. And so basically, just kind of backstory, I got a message about 3 weeks or a month out saying, hey man, I'm from Inferno, would you be interested in us in doing a speech thing there? And it's like 5:30 in the morning, and I'm like, my friend Dante was here, and I was like, Dante, I think I'm getting flown to Norway to talk about social media. And sure enough, and so this comes together, and it's weird because we put together this speech. I'm very grateful to everyone who let me rehearse with them. That's really a huge thing, because I probably practiced that motherfucker, like, in the month build up, I probably practiced that thing like 30 times. Like every single day. And then in the last couple of days leading up, I practiced multiple times a day. And then I get there and I show up, I take the red eye, I show up at like 8 a.m., I meet the organizer, and he takes me to this glorious breakfast where there's like caviar and that like amazing Norwegian brown cheese and like just gorgeous spreads, etc. Like, motherfuckers, we need this in America, because otherwise I'm just going to leave. Meet a bunch of people, apparently all watch Bacon's Bits somehow, and have this amazing, beautifully plated, put together music industry dinner the first night, and I'm presenting the next day. And so let's just kind of go through it one day at a time, I guess. Because so you have this music industry dinner, and this was one of the most important parts, because I was able to connect with a lot of people who I'd been emailing with for a long time, or who I'd wanted to get in touch with for a long time. And that's something that I think a lot of people don't necessarily understand, especially about the smaller hip festival. And this happens much more in Europe than it does in America, although you do see it at things like Psycho Las Vegas. But it's a great way to kind of engage with people, being at these smaller hip festivals and just being able to shake hands with people and wind up at a dinner table with this booking agent and this festival promoter and just seeing what happens. Like, it's a cool way to be. So I was obviously like super blown away and just trying to be like, yeah, I totally belong here. And definitely like the imposter syndrome thing was really like kicking in. Like, it was very, it's weird to be the youngest person there trying to like see what you can do. Get to the next day, presentation was really cool. Shout out to my friend Jan Erle, who actually filmed it for me, and then there's actually a pro shot version coming out one of these decades, and that's going to be really cool. And sort of what's interesting is it almost felt like a live music performance. Actually, it felt more natural than performing live music, because when I perform live music, there's obviously pauses between songs, right? And here, it's just sort of a half hour, 35 minutes, just a stream of conscious, which was not an experience I've ever really had before, and it was very separate from anything I had sort of anticipated, and was really intense, but also really cool. So you're answering these questions and talking about it, and it's the thing I've really wrestled with is that it shifted, this is me being very honest, is it shifted my positioning to other people very much, where it suddenly seemed like I'm an expert now, which is cool, and I appreciate that, but it was just a new positioning, right? I don't even know the right words for it, because I'm trying not to like, it's not even a dick swinging thing, it's just like, you have something like that happen that takes you to the next level. It's like when an unsigned band gets tapped to play Roadburn or something, right? Where you're like, oh wow, now we're here, right? And that's really cool and really important, and I think you can't underestimate that value, of taking advantage of those opportunities and then going out and making a point of, what I did after was I made a point of trying to thank every single person who was in the room, and there was like 150 people in the room, so it was did not happen as much to the extent I wanted to, but you've got to kind of take advantage of that and try to connect with as many people as possible when you do something in front of them, because now they have it fresh in your head who you are, and hopefully You did something to impress them, you know? And I think when you kind of grow with that in mind, it's a lot more effective. So we kind of have this shift in positioning. It's really cool. It's an amazing experience to talk in front of all these people. Cool. I want to get into the day after, which was really fun. I wake up super late to a text message from my friend Chris, who organized the conference, that is. And he basically was like, hey man, do you want to moderate this panel about streaming? And so I wound up like reading this article in Harvard Business Review about like how to fucking moderate a panel, like trying to come up with an outline with like 2.5 hours notice. And I'm incredibly grateful to all my guys who were on that panel. I'm probably going to forget someone, but Carl, Jacek, Andreas, and Jens did an amazing job. It was really cool to kind of step up to that challenge and get to be like, cool, I've never moderated a panel before. I've never met any of these guys before. Let's see what happens. And it actually went pretty well. And I was very, very grateful because those guys really, I mostly just stood there and looked pretty. Like, let's be honest. Like, I put together an outline that I thought was cool, but like I really only asked like 4 or 5 questions in the 45-minute panel. Like, people were really into it and excited, and I was just really blessed to have that experience. And from that, I've been able to kind of connect with, actually, Jacek, who was on that panel, who runs Artifact Records. Now we work together on social media marketing, you know? So a lot of good connections came out of that. The rest of the festival is amazing. Gals Weird is an incredible band. I was so blessed to get to see them. It's everything I love about second wave black metal in one band. And yeah, you know, that was sort of what that Norway experience was like. It was insane. It was very intense. It was deeply emotional, and really just, it felt like an arrival in a lot of ways. And I'm really, really grateful to the Inferno Festival guys for making it happen.